Okay, good afternoon everybody. You're very welcome to this afternoon's Auto Enrolment. Today we're presenting 7 steps to profit with BrightPay. I've already completed a sound check with the people that have logged in just a bit earlier, but it probably is possible to increase the volume if you're using a phone device, or if you're using your laptop and speakers, it's possible to increase the volume on your laptop. The BrightPay Auto Enrolment webinars are specifically designed for accountants, bookkeepers and bureaus who have payroll clients. We at BrightPay understand that auto enrolment is a daunting task for bureaus, but you don't need to shy away from servicing these payroll clients. With the right auto enrolment tools, they can form the core client base of a profitable bureau. Today's webinar will look at methods to increase the speed involved in these types of jobs with BrightPay. Okay. So our speaker today is Paul Byrne. Paul is the Managing Director here at BrightPay. He is also a Chartered Accountant, having previously spent 20 years running his own practice. Today BrightPay is used by just under 19,000 employers in the UK. Over the last few years we have worked to make sure our payroll and auto enrolment solution BrightPay is easy to use, innovative and cost effective for bureaus. Today Paul will share with you ways to simplify your payroll processes and look at ways to take the grunt work out of auto enrolment for you. Now you're quite welcome to type in any questions that you have throughout the duration of the webinar. So again, they're on the right hand side of your control panel. There is a question tab, and you can type in any questions there throughout the webinar, and at the very end we'll have probably a 5 or a 10-minute Q&A session where we'll get through as many questions as we can. But don't worry, I will send you through a full list of all of the questions along with the relevant answers after the webinar. Okay, now the good news this afternoon is we have a free competition, and the competition is for a BrightPay Bureau 2015-16 license. We have not 1 but 2 to give away today, so the competition is open to everybody who stays for the duration of the webinar. Okay, I'll now pass you over to Paul, and Paul will present Auto Enrolment 7 Steps to Profit with BrightPay. So enjoy everybody.
Okay, thanks Karen. Hi everyone, and thanks for joining us today. Just a small bit about myself to start off. My background is as a practicing accountant. I started my own practice way back in the 80s and eventually grew it to a 3-partner practice with 10 staff before doing something completely different and moving into software development full-time. While in practice, I provided payroll bureau service for about 30 clients, so I know what it is like in the front line, and I lost all of my hair in the process. This was a huge part of my motivation in getting into payroll software development, to make better software than what I was using at the time. Although I can't claim full credit for BrightPay, which is written by someone younger and better than I, my fellow director Ross Webster, but Ross and I together ensure that it has or will have everything you guys need. So far our payroll software is used by 65,000 employers across the UK and Ireland. We've helped thousands of employers with their AE duties over the last few years. We've learned a thing or two about what is important to bureaus who have payroll clients, and how we as payroll software providers can make it easy for you to complete these employer tasks. The key factor for BrightPay is to simplify the AE process by automating these duties to increase productivity and profits. So here's the agenda for my slot today, which I hope you will find informative and give you plenty of food for thought. The agenda may have had some minor tweaks since originally advertised, but the overall message is unchanged. When talking, I will often refer to auto enrolment or automatic enrolment simply as AE. And for those of you who have tuned into any of our previous webinars, apologies if I end up repeating some of the points previously made. Unfortunately, this is unavoidable. Okay, here's some research conducted by the Pensions Regulator. 74% of small and micro employers expect to turn to an intermediary, and 59% of them are likely to ask an accountant to help or for help and guidance. A massive 1.2 million small and micro businesses are set to start staging from June 2015. Payroll advisors are aware that the majority of these employers will not have the knowledge or experience to make informed decisions when it comes to their AE obligations. With a vast quantity of information available, employers are fast becoming confused and overwhelmed as to what the responsibilities for AE actually are. New figures released this February from the pensions regulator show that 7 out of 10 employers say that they will ask a business advisor for help with AE. So whether you're a payroll professional, bookkeeper, independent financial advisor or accountant, there is a definite opportunity to profit from offering AE as a service. According to a report from the pensions regulator, the activities that most payroll administrators were undertaking or planning to undertake were to find out their client's staging date, maintain employee records, identify eligible workers, and work out the cost of the pension contributions. When a small micro-employer reaches their staging date, an hour or two should be sufficient to deal with AE tasks, which include enrolling all relevant employees, communicating as required to all employees, and setting up and commencing employee deductions and employer contributions. From that point on, it is just a matter of monitoring employees, submitting contribution files to the pension provider, and managing employees who opt in and opt out. Some payroll software monitors the ages and earnings of employees in each subsequent pay period to see if any further enrolments are required and if any new employees should be enrolled. Each of these enrolments should only take minutes to process. Provided that accountants have payroll software that will work in their favour, there is little work involved in the AE process. Staging is the most hands-on task involved, and although it can take an hour or two, it will become easier and faster for accountants for every new client that is staged. Before staging, the employer or the bureau acting on their behalf should register with a pension provider. Again, this should not take long. Registering with Nest, for example, should take no more than half an hour. AE does not need to be a major headache for accountants and their clients, provided they take some time to make sure the right tools are in place to deal with it. AE should become a seamless part of the payroll process. For large, repetitive or time-sensitive tasks, the speed of automated AE offers significant cost savings to bureaus. This will be especially relevant when these employers approach their bureaus close to or even after their staging date. If automatic enrolment is not already included with your current software provider as standard, you may have to pay additional costs for AE functionality and support. Bureaus obviously have the option to consider an alternative software package such as BrightPay that has AE features included and no hidden support charges. So BrightPay is a modern, innovative solution that exists that to automate the AE chores. Armed with the employer staging date, bureaus can now simply enter the date to assess each employee's eligibility for AE at the staging date. BrightPay will further handle all employee AE communications based on each employee's individual eligibility. BrightPay is payroll and AE software which will enable bureaus to help their clients prepare for their staging dates. BrightPay is an all-encompassing solution that works to automate and simplify the AE process, making it as easy as possible for you to help your clients achieve compliance. Okay, so firstly, to cover the basics, BrightPay is a payroll solution. You can handle weekly, fortnightly, 4-weekly and monthly payment schedules. Also, basic, daily, hourly and statutory pay are easily dealt with. Payslips can be emailed directly from the payroll to your client's employees with a password secure PDF attachment. BrightPay handles all RTI submissions. BrightPay automatically creates full payment submissions as you progress throughout the payroll year. The list goes on when it comes to payroll. Today, with Auto Enrolment, what's very important to note is that BrightPay has Auto Enrolment functionality as standard, and AE is included in the price. Payroll and AE software should be able to handle staging, employee assessment, postponement, all employee communications, ongoing monitoring, opt-outs, refunds, and be integrated with the various AE pension providers. Generally, the process of assessing each and every employee can be time-consuming. From your client staging date, all eligible job holders will need to be automatically enrolled into a workplace pension scheme, unless you're using postponement. BrightPay accesses employees' PAYE information, and based on the employee's wages and age, BrightPay will assess and calculate who needs to be enrolled. BrightPay will further alert you to what your AE obligations are for each employee based on their employee category. Once you have a pension scheme in place, the ease of enrolling employees is fundamental to the AE process. You will need to provide individual employee information to your chosen pension scheme, such as the staff member's name, postal address, date of birth, and national insurance number. Eligible employees will have the option to opt out of a pension scheme within a month of being enrolled. Equally, non-eligible job holders will have the option to opt in to the workplace pension scheme. BrightPay is capable of enrolling eligible employees, processing opt-out and opt-in requests, refunding all deductions already made, and showing this refund on the payslip. Communicating with your client's employees is a mandatory part of auto enrolment. The communication will explain to each and every employee how automatic enrolment affects them. In addition, it is important to make sure that each employee receives the correct communication based on their individual work status. The pension regulator has outlined specific requirements that need to be included in the content of these letters to employees. While there are a number of free letter templates available for bureaus to process manually, this will be quite time-consuming, especially when employees will fall into different work categories. BrightPay is able to automatically examine each employee's work status and produce tailored automatic enrollment letters based on that information, ready for printing or emailing. Employers have the option to postpone automatic enrollment for up to 3 months for some or all of their staff. If your client chooses to put the option to postpone, a letter must be produced informing employees that they have been postponed. On the last day of the postponement period, each of the postponed employees will need to be assessed to determine if they are still eligible to be automatically enrolled. The option to postpone AE is built into BrightPay, including alerts when the postponement period has expired. Again, it will save you time if the employee communication that details the postponement is automated within the software, compared to manually producing this documentation. Once a client has reached their staging date and automatically enrolled employees, your AE responsibilities do not stop there. AE means you must also monitor any changes to the employee's work status. For example, if an employee's income exceeds the threshold, or if an employee reaches the age of 22, their worker category will change. BrightPay software will recognize this change to the employee's work status and automatically inform you of your AE obligation and produce the necessary communications. There is no need to run or export a report each pay period. Payroll software should continuously monitor staff to ensure that employees are automatically enrolled when they become an eligible job holder. BrightPay does alert you to such events and prompt you to perform the necessary action, be it enroll or postpone, making your job easier. It will be important to maintain a schedule of contributions and ensure you can make the correct payments to each employee. BrightPay will automatically set up the phased minimum contribution levels for you. There's also an option to set up custom contribution levels if you decide to change the percentage contributions for employees. At each pay period, BrightPay will automatically make the relevant contributions and deductions for each of your client's employees based on the chosen pension scheme and the percentage contributions the employer has decided on. These contributions and deductions will then be included on each employee's payslip. BrightPay can make these deductions and keep up to date with the contributions. Some payroll providers have limitations to the auto enrollment features and functionality they offer. BrightPay can handle and automate the employer AE duties for you. Additionally, a number of providers will allow you to process a certain number of employees or payroll clients before the cost increases significantly. While a large portion of the employees might be eligible, there are still duties that need to be completed for non-eligible and entitled workers. Check that there are no limitations when it comes to AE functionality, and ensure there are no restrictions with the number of employees or employers that can be set up. Integration with AE pension providers will also be a key consideration to think about when weighing up the various payroll solutions out there. BrightPay is compatible with Nest, Now Pensions, the People's Pension, Aviva, Workers' Pension Trust, Royal London, Standard Life, Scottish Widows, and this list is always being added to. There are certain records that must be kept by law must be kept by both the employer and the pension scheme as proof of compliance. Employers must record this information about their employees and their chosen pension scheme. These records must be kept for a minimum of 6 years. For each employee, you must keep communications containing opt-in, joining, or opt-out notices. These records must be kept in a certain format for the pensions regulator. BrightPay's reporting function is customizable to your own requirements for any other analysis that you should want. The way payroll software providers are pricing their auto enrollment functionality completely varies across the industry. Certain solutions are choosing to charge extra per employee per month, which could quickly add up, especially as the demand for auto enrollment grows. Others have decided to charge a completely separate fee for an auto enrollment feature, add-in, or module. Some packages in the market do have auto enrollment included, but the functionality can be basic or limited. It would be cost-effective to select a solution such as BrightPay, where there are no additional charges per employee or per payroll client. Make sure to read the small print and beware of hidden support charges too. These hidden costs can add up and ultimately affect or take from your bottom line. With BrightPay, you can benefit from unlimited employers, unlimited employees, free phone and email support, all for just £199 plus VAT per annum. You can also benefit from a 60-day free trial, which has no limitations to the software. So, with all that said, I would now like to hand you over to Vicky for a short demo showing you just how easy AE should be. And Vicky is our BrightPay support manager here. So thank you, Vicky.
No problem. Okay. So thanks, Paul. So good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone can see the software there, just following the switch over. So just before I focus on how BrightPay handles auto enrollment, I'll just give you a quick introduction on how easy it is to use BrightPay in general. So once you have your BrightPay installed and your employer file set up, to get started you can simply click into Employees to set up your employee details. So employees can be set up in two ways. Firstly, employees can be set up manually, and all you need to do is simply click on New Employee and complete all of these sections accordingly. Alternatively, and this is particularly beneficial if you are migrating from another payroll software, employee details and mid-year totals can be easily imported into BrightPay using CSV file format. And to do this, simply click on File, Import Export Data, and import employees from a CSV file. So once employee details have been set up, you can begin processing payroll. And to do this, simply click into the payroll utility and select an employee from the listing to view and edit their pay slip. So BrightPay caters for 4 pay frequencies: weekly, fortnightly, 4-weekly and monthly payroll, and an unlimited number of pay items can be added to an employee's pay slip. And these items include basic payments, hourly payments and daily payments, as well as additions and deductions. In addition, statutory payments and attachment orders can also be applied to an employee's payslip if required. In addition, pay items can also be imported into BrightPay, again via CSV format if this is required. Okay. So if I just finalize the payslips here. So once payslips are finalised, I just let that run through, payslips can be printed, and they can be printed to either plain A4 or A5 paper or to payslip stationery. Okay. They can also be emailed, okay, and exported to PDF if required. An options menu is also available in each of these facilities, and this is here for you to be able to customize your payslips to suit your own needs. Okay. So once every pay period is finalized, BrightPay will also automatically produce your RTI full payment submissions for you, and these can be found in the RTI utility. So you simply select your outstanding full payment submission and send now to HMRC. So moving on to how BrightPay handles the auto enrolment process. So as soon as you have your staging date, this can be entered in the pensions utility of the software and in the designated field provided. So I'm just going to assume a staging date here in this example of the 1st of May 2015. And by entering your date here, this will ensure that your on-screen alerts will kick in at the correct time for you in your payroll. Entering details of your pension scheme is also straightforward and is done within the same utility here. Simply click on Add New Scheme and select one of the pension options from the listing. So currently we offer dedicated support for Aviva, Nest, Now Pensions, the People's Pension, Royal London, Scottish Widows, Standard Life and the Workers' Pension Trust. And we have an other automatic enrolment qualifying scheme option just to cater for any other scheme. So if we just take Nest as an example here, so simply enter your employer reference as set up with Nest in the field provided, and on the following screen you simply enter your group details exactly as you have them set up with the pension provider. On the same screen here you will also see this is where you can set the contribution rates to apply and also the earnings basis. And also further groups can be added if required, for example, if you have employees on different pay frequencies or employees with different contribution rates. Okay. So I'll just cancel out there. So once you reach your staging date in the software, so we're the 1st of May here, BrightPay will automatically assess your employees for you and will determine whether they are eligible job holders, non-eligible job holders or entitled workers. You also see these on-screen flags appear and also these alerts here, and this is to notify you that you now have automatic enrolment duties to perform. So if we just take our first employee here, Jemima Appleby, and click on View Options. So we'll see here that Jemima is being assessed as an eligible job holder. So we are given the option to either enroll her, to postpone her, or to mark as exempt. So in this instance, we will enroll her. So simply click Enroll, select the scheme you wish to enroll her in, the applicable tax relief, and press Continue to complete the enrolment. Once enrolled, BrightPay will then automatically produce the enrolment letter for you, and these can either be printed, exported to PDF or emailed directly to the employee through BrightPay. So if we just do a print preview here just to the screen, so you'll see here an extract of Jemima's enrolment letter, and this will include details about the staging date, her contribution rates, her options for opting out should she choose to do so, and also just general information about what automatic enrolment means to her. Okay. Once then the employee is in receipt of the enrolment letter, you can simply tell the software that this is done. Okay. So if we just take our second employee here, Ronan Burton, he this time is being assessed as a non-eligible job holder. So we are given slightly different options for him. So we have the option here to write to him, inviting him to opt into a scheme, to then opt him in should he choose to do so, again to postpone or to mark as exempt. And similarly, we have Simone Pendleton here. She's been assessed as an entitled worker. So we have the following options here: to write to her, for her to join the scheme, to postpone and mark as exempt. Okay. So a useful feature in BrightPay is the option to enroll more than one employee at the same time. So you'll see here at the time of enrolling one employee, just set one up here, you'll be given the option to enroll multiple employees with the same settings. So you simply select this option, tick the employees you wish to enroll, and enroll them all at the same time. Okay. In the same manner, you will then also be given the option to batch process the enrolment letters, and again, these can be printed, exported to PDF or emailed directly to the employees. I'll just send these ones now. Okay, and they're ready for going. And again, we can tell BrightPay that these letters are now done in one go. Okay. So at the same time, batch postponement can also be done here. So again, at the time of postponing one employee, set this one up, I'll enter a deferral date here, just at the 1st of July. We will be given the option then to postpone assessment for multiple employees. So again, simply select the employees you would like to postpone, click the button, and they are all postponed at the same time. And again, postponement notices can be batch processed, again by printing them, exporting to PDF or emailing, and again, marking as done all at the same time. Okay. So returning to the payroll screen here, we'll now see that my flags have disappeared because I've performed all my duties there for the relevant employees. So once employees have been enrolled or have joined or have opted in, you will then see the pension deductions being applied to the employees' pay slips. And if I just finalize this period here and show you just a print preview of a pay slip, we will also see that these pension deductions are also included on the employees' pay slip for their information. Okay. So where we offer dedicated support for a pension scheme, this means that BrightPay can produce the contribution files and, where applicable, the enrolment files for upload into the pension provider's web portal. So again, just using Nest as an example. Okay, so if we were to generate an enrolment file for Nest, simply click on the enrolment file option, click on Next, fill in the details accordingly. Just quickly put something in here. Okay, and at the prompt, you simply save the file to a location of your choice, ready for upload into Nest web portal. Likewise, contribution files are prepared in the same manner. So after each pay period is finalized, you can simply come into this utility and produce your contributions file. Again, a little bit of filling in. And again, with a click of a few buttons, you're given the option to save your file, ready for upload. So BrightPay is also able to process opt-out requests and issue refunds where applicable. So if an opt-out notice is received for an employee, all you do is simply access the employee's record and the automatic enrolment utility here and select the opt-out option. So you just need to enter the opt-out reference, okay, press continue and say yes to save the changes. So if a refund is then due back to the employee, you will then see that flowing through onto the next open payslip for the employee, as you can see here. For your own reporting requirements, we have the analysis function here in the software, and this can be accessed at any time should you wish to generate your own automatic enrolment reports. Simply click on New Report and select the criteria for your report. So I'll just generate one here for Nest. Okay, and just run report to display on screen. So all reports can be edited and then saved for future use and printed and exported. Okay. Just to continue then, so if you have communications outstanding to employees, if I just look at this employee here, BrightPay will continue to remind you that you still have communications to perform. Okay. Now, if you are in a situation where your pension provider is doing the communications for you, you can switch off these alerts. And to do this, we simply click into the pensions utility again and untick the reminders there for the communications. Okay. Finally, once you have completed your declaration of compliance for the pensions regulator, the deadline being 5 months from your staging date, you can simply enter a record of this in this dedicated field provided here. Sorry, for example, and save changes. Okay, so that completes the demo there for you. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask away, and we'll do our best to answer them at the end of the webinar. In the meantime, I will pass you back to Paul.
Okay, thank you, Vicky. That was great. Okay, so the first step is to simplify and automate. So BrightPay understands that auto enrollment is a daunting task for bureaus. Payroll bureaus don't need to shy away from servicing their payroll clients. With the right auto enrollment tools, you can simplify the process and automate the AE admin chores. By automating the AE process, you will reduce the amount of time you spend handling each payroll client. This will be key to success and allow you to increase the speed involved in these types of jobs. Avoid inefficient or expensive AE software solutions and save time and money. With a combined payroll and AE solution in place, bureaus will benefit from greater efficiency, increased value, and improved cost savings. Engage with your clients. It will be important to engage with the small and micro employers that have not yet staged. These employers will be required by law to automatically enroll eligible job holders into a qualifying workplace pension scheme when they run their payroll on their staging date, assuming they're not using postponement. The first thing to do is to find out your client's staging date and to start planning accordingly. It is possible to look up the staging date on the pension regulator's website if you have their PAYE information. Be aware that if you decide not to process AE, there will be a risk that you will lose some or all of your payroll clients. Avoid penalties. The impact of automatic enrolment will affect your client's business now and for the foreseeable future. The pensions regulator continues to enforce fines and penalties for non-compliance. Not allowing enough time to plan could lead to your clients being fined. AE penalties range from £50 to £10,000 depending on how many employees your client has. Non-compliance fines range from £1,000 to £5,000 and civil penalties range from £5,000 to £50,000. In 2014, the pensions regulator fined 169 employers for failing to comply. And by planning ahead, it will allow you on behalf of your clients to avoid hefty penalty fines. Step 4. Be open for business. By understanding employer AE obligations, a bureau can position themselves as an authority figure who is open for AE business. Employers outsource their payroll processes to you because you have the know-how and it saves them time and money. Today with AE, it is not only about cutting costs for employers, but trusting you as a payroll professional to make sure they are fully AE compliant. Furthermore, some employers may not have the competency, time, or know-how to handle AE. Once employers have confidence in your knowledge and ability, they should be open to the idea of outsourcing these AE tasks to you for a chargeable fee. Payroll software. This will play a key role in ensuring the success of AE. Without the correct payroll software in place, bureaus will need additional time and resources to plan for AE. You will need to know which employees need to be automatically enrolled and which employees have the option to opt in. Payroll software can access employee pay and other information so as to establish who will be eligible, non-eligible, or entitled. Ensure the software supports the requirements of AE and will correctly perform tasks. Automatic enrolment is presenting bureaus with a unique platform to increase profits. There are a huge number of small and micro employers due to stage between now and 2018. It will be important to capitalize on this window of opportunity. By offering AE as a chargeable service, bureaus can add additional revenue streams, provide added value to existing clients, and increase the possibility of bringing new clients on board. It further provides a competitive edge to you over other bureaus that refuse to provide AE as a service to their clients. Payroll software will play a vital role in ensuring the success of automatic enrolment. Ensure that your chosen payroll software provider will provide all the necessary functions to automate the employer admin tasks. The regulator urges bureaus and employers to check with their payroll provider to ensure that it will correctly identify the duty you have for each employee, and to see if the system will support the requirements of AE. So I think at this stage I'll hand you back to Karen, and myself and Vicky will be dealing with your questions in a few minutes.
Okay, thanks Paul. So just to recap, our Bureau package is $199 and that's for a year, and BrightPay caters for unlimited employers, unlimited employees, auto enrolment, full functionality, and there's free phone and email support. And our standard license has unlimited employees, auto enrolment functionality, and free phone and email support. So just to recap, just make sure there are a few questions here that you need to ask your payroll provider. So does your payroll provider access your workforce, allow for the use of postponement, automate employee communications, calculate pension contributions, handle opt-in and joining, handle opt-outs and refunds, notify you when actions need to be taken, keep records and provide records, integrate with multiple pension scheme provider systems. Okay, so lastly, I know Vicky has gone through a quick demo there for you, but if you did want a one-to-one demo, or if you wanted any of your colleagues or anything to have a look at a demo, we'll be sending a copy of this PowerPoint to everybody, so just email us back and let us know if you'd like to have a one-to-one demo. I suppose it'll also allow you to ask any questions that you have that might be specific to yourselves. Don't forget to follow BrightPay on Twitter, so it's just BrightPay UK, and the hashtag just for today's webinar is BP Webinars. Now we just have a list of some useful links and resources where we've gotten a lot of our information. The Pensions Regulator is a brilliant resource to, for all of your guides and your how-tos, and then there's a lot more on Accounting Web, and we also have a free 60-day trial. So there's links there to all of those articles. So now I'm going to go through some of the questions. So there's quite a few questions coming through here. So I'm going to ask questions and I'm just going to direct them at Paul and Vicky. Okay. So the first question here, so how I think we might have covered this anyway, but just to recap there. So how does BrightPay handle the AE ongoing duties?
So which is the sorry, I was tuned out there. Again, sorry.
So how does BrightPay handle the auto enrolment ongoing duties?
Well, it will basically alert the user to any employee who has, say, reached the age of 22 or whose earnings exceed the necessary threshold of £10,000 per annum, and it will basically tell them to enroll or postpone or whatever at that stage. It will also handle the deductions from all employees of the necessary pension contributions, the contributions from the employer, and prepare the files for submission to the pension schemes. I think that's basically it for ongoing duties.
Okay, so so can the letters be personalised with the employee details?
The content of the letters themselves are standardised, but they will be tailored. They will be personalised to the employee in question, and also refer to the relevant pension scheme.
Okay. How much are accountants charging for auto enrolment?
Okay, I can only answer that by giving one example that I know of, where an accountant a customer informed me that for a 15 employee client, that they would charge them £400 for the staging, and they increased their ongoing price per pay slip from £1 to £1.50. That seemed to suit them fine.
Okay. Yeah, myself, I've also come across a lot of accountants are using tier systems, just to put in there, Paul. I've come across a lot of discussions on Accounting Web, on LinkedIn, so kind of like maybe a 3-tier system, so they're kind of putting the onus on the employer to make the decision when it comes to the pricing. So say tier 1 might be just for the auto enrolment setup, tier 2 might be auto enrolment setup and the handling of the AE communications, tier 3 might be the auto enrolment setup, communications and ongoing assessment. Now I've heard loads of different prices going from £500 right up to 3,000, but the tier system does seem to be quite popular. Okay, so would it cost us extra if we set this program up on more than one computer, 2 different offices but the same company?
Basically, the BrightPay Bureau license allows for 5 activations, so basically up to 5 users. So it really doesn't matter where those users are located. It'll handle the 5 different IP addresses within that license.
Okay. So can you create custom reports in BrightPay?
You can. First of all, BrightPay has preset favorite reports, which are your most commonly used payroll reports, but you can also create your own, and you can choose the parameters and the criteria for those reports. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So for the standard license, how many employees does it cover?
It's unlimited.
Okay. Can you print the FPS/EPS report you've submitted as a record for your own files?
You can, and it can be exported to PDF as well if you wanted to send it over to someone.
Okay. There's one there about pension providers. So how do you uplift all the tax codes at the end or beginning of the new tax year?
Well, it does that automatically in the import from one year to the next.
Yeah, if you're importing, say for this year, from 14-15 BrightPay into 15-16 BrightPay, then L codes are automatically uplifted for you by the amount.
Isn't
it? It was 60 this time, yeah. Yeah, we've also got in BrightPay 15-16 the option as well to do your coding notices, where it will automatically connect to your HMRC online account, and you can bring your coding notices in.
Okay. Do you have a time frame to introduce other pension providers? If there is one you do not have, can we ask you when are you going to add it? Sorry.
Well, yeah, no, we're always reviewing further requests for additional pension providers. We had hoped at this stage that the PAPTIS project would be kind of taking over. That it's basically a default format for all pension providers, apart from Nest, who won't be involved in it for a couple of years yet. But unfortunately, it hasn't really rolled out that well. So, but in the meantime, yeah, we are looking at other pension scheme providers to add to the list.
Okay. Can the system report data across 2 years, e.g. the 1st of January 2014 to the 31st of December 2015?
No.
No. Every year it's a brand new download, so they're independent packages. So in terms of payroll data, no. Calendar information, however, can cross 2 years.
Okay.
That's for holidays.
The holidays, yeah, and statutory payments, for example, yeah.
Okay. Does BrightPay handle CIS?
No, it doesn't handle it as part. It's not integrated into BrightPay, but we do have a companion product called CIS Assistant, which we are providing free of charge to all BrightPay users, customers.
Okay. Okay. So.
I'm sorry, the one under this, just one there. Can you roll back handle FPS corrections? Yes, BrightPay can. Basically, payslips can be reopened and amendments made, and then in terms of reporting these corrections to HMRC, BrightPay facilitates additional FPSs.
In other words, you can do more than one per period.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you use departments in BrightPay?
Yes.
And employees can be assigned to multiple departments too across one pay period.
And you can apply weightings as well, not just in relation to their pay, but also in relation to their additions and deductions can have separate weightings. So for example, if you're paying somebody commission or a bonus or whatever, you might have that more allocated towards your sales department or whatever you want to do. Yeah, it can be done in BrightPay.
Okay. How can you find out your client's staging date?
You just get onto the pension regulator website. They have a staging date tool, and there we put in the PAY reference number, and it'll return the staging date. I have heard as well that the pensions regulator is looking at providing a facility where you can submit a file, like a spreadsheet with the various client PAY data, their PAY reference numbers, and they'll return that file with the staging dates alongside. I have just yet to confirm with the pension regulator exactly how they're going to do that, but I believe it can be done.
Okay, I just noticed somebody's after putting up a link there to the pensions regulator website. So we have that on the PowerPoint, so we will send that on to everybody afterwards. So thanks, Dee, there.
It's BrightPay. There's another one there. BrightPay download tax codes.
Okay, so does BrightPay download tax codes changes P6, P9?
Yes, we have a coding notices facility now that will automatically access your HMRC online account and bring these notices down for you.
Okay, great. Okay, I like this question anyway. So why is BrightPay so cheap?
Paul?
I guess that's just our business model. We go for numbers. Our main business objective is to provide software that doesn't need support. The support is probably the most expensive thing involved in sort of producing payroll software. You obviously need various staff and facilities available for that. So if we can make the payroll good enough that most people don't actually require to be calling upon that resource, then we can keep that down. We can keep that particular cost down, and we also provide a lot of online support and video help and things like that. So that's the way we do it.
Okay. Can you print P60s, P45 from the software?
Yeah, P60s can be printed or emailed directly from BrightPay for the employee. P45s can be printed or exported to PDF.
Okay. So how many support staff do you have? I suppose that's a kind of a question. And how good is our support staff?
Yeah, well, we have 12 support staff at the moment.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of comments also, everybody, on Accounting Web from our customers, and there's loads and loads of positive reviews about BrightPay, about our support team. Basically on a daily basis we get through a lot of testimonials and thank yous from our customers. We have Anne is great, very helpful here, so thanks a million.
Do you have a manual?
So yeah, do you have a manual for troubleshooting or instructions?
Well,
everything's online, so there's comprehensive online documentation and also tutorial videos as well.
Okay.
Just final one there. Does BrightPay keep a log of emails sent? No, it doesn't do that, and it's one of the things we are looking into as a feature, maybe for a future release. At present, what you can do is you can CC. You can specify a CC email address when you're emailing these pay slips out, so you will get an exact copy of what the employee gets. So you have a record of when it was sent and what time it was sent. But we can't actually, at the moment, we can't produce a log from our server as to the emails actually going out. Like we get rid of that information as soon as it's sent. We don't want to be holding that data, so unfortunately that's not there at the moment.
Okay. Is the software online, or do we download it and put it on the server?
No, it's downloadable. It's desktop. Now we are looking into more cloud features. At the moment, we know that a lot of employers will save their employer file on their machine in maybe like a Dropbox folder or a Google Drive folder. So that's how they sort of get the functionality of the cloud, and that's the backup functionality. But yeah, we're looking into more and more ways of making it cloud features available.
Okay, so we'll probably take another, I think, maybe 3 questions and try to aim to finish up at 3 o'clock. So I have another one here. Is it possible to set up 2 sets of contribution rates, e.g. one set of contribution rates for the director and another for the employees, sorry?
Yes, that is possible. We just saw it quickly on the demo there that you can add further groups or sites depending on the pension provider, but more than one can be added.
Okay. Is the price for BrightPay per month or per year?
Sorry, it's per year.
Per year,
yeah.
Okay.
I wish it was per month. But
yeah. So how would you say you compare to the likes of Sage and Iris?
Well, that's a terrible question to be asked somebody who's so biased.
Yeah.
Well, I think that we're but we're a lot more competitive, I suppose, in terms of price. We'll react quicker because we've a very small development team here. You know, if something needs to be done, we usually do it for the next release. And the feedback I'm getting is that our auto enrollment functionality, our RTI, is kind of much more user-friendly than the competitors you've just mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I suppose it's primarily in terms of pricing. I think with Sage and Iris, they have additional add-ons for the auto enrollment module or the auto enrollment suite, and they price per employee per month, some of them, and then I think there's additional charges for support. But yeah, I think in terms of automation and BrightPay, you know, we cover everything in terms of the admin tasks, and our price is very, very competitive.
I think as well as support is also important to mention. It's probably much more personalised support. You know, when you're phoning us, you don't get asked for, you know, punch in number 1, number 2, number 3 for certain options or whatever. You generally get to know the people you're dealing with here.
Yeah. How often? Just lastly, we'll just take one last question, everybody. So, how often do you issue upgrades?
It's kind of how long is a piece of string. You know, we've another upgrade just gone out this afternoon, and that's our first this year, and that was to handle a few additional pension providers that we want to add into the auto enrollment options. So we hope we don't have to issue too many in a year, but normally it's supposed to be 2 or 3 anyway.
Mm-hmm. Usually around year-end as well, because there's often a change brought in by HMRC, but as and when required.
Yeah, and all the upgrades are, you know, basically they're notified through the software and downloaded online, so there's no distribution by disc or CD or whatever.
Okay, well, I think we'll finish up there. So thanks very much for attending, everybody. As I said, we'll send on a copy of the PowerPoint to everybody, along with the winners for the competition, so best of luck. And we'll send on all of there's a lot of questions there, so we'll send on the questions along with the answers. If you do have any further questions, you can contact us directly. I'll have all of the information on the email. So thanks a million for tuning in.
Thank you, Karen and Vicky.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Bye.